Morning after the open mic, Allison woke to rain tapping against her window. The city outside was gray, blurred by water, but her chest felt strangely light. She lay still, listening to the rhythm of the drops, remembering the night before. The stage. The silence. The applause. For a moment, she wondered if she had dreamed it. But then she glanced at her notebook on the table, still open to the page she had read from. The ink marks were real. Her trembling handwriting was real. She had done it. The day moved slowly. She made coffee, buttered toast, and stood at the window while steam fogged the glass. Normally, rain pressed down on her mood, but today it felt cleansing. As if the world was washing itself, making room for something new. Her phone buzzed with a message. Allison, it's Mara. I was at the open mic last night. Your piece about mornings really stayed with me. Would you mind if I shared it with my sister? She just lost someone too. Allison stared at the words, her throat tightening. She typed back, of course. Thank you for telling me. When she set the phone down, her hands trembled, not with fear, but with awe. Her grief had touched someone else. It had been received, carried onward. The rain cleared by afternoon, and Allison pulled on her shoes, heading out for a run along the river. The air was damp, heavy with the smell of wet leaves. Her legs moved steadily, breath sinking with her steps. She thought about how different this felt from the runs she used to force herself through in the first months after David left. Back then, every stride had been punishment, an effort to outrun the ache. Now, running felt like forward motion. Not escape, but arrival. As she paused at the river's edge, the memory of the stage returned. The moment when her voice stopped shaking. The moment when silence turned into listening. She whispered to the water, almost testing the words, I did it. And the river, in its endless movement, seemed to answer, yes. Keep going. At the next bookstore gathering, the group greeted her like family. Jules hugged her outright, Mariah pressed a latte into her hands, Ravi clapped her on the shoulder. You were incredible, Jules said. Allison blushed. I thought my voice was shaking the whole time. It was, Sam said with a grin. But that's what made it human. That's what made it matter. They settled into their circle. Conversation flowed more easily than ever, laughter sparking, ideas spilling. Allison noticed how quickly time passed when she was here, how 2 hours felt like 20 minutes, how leaving always came with a small ache of wanting more. She realized she had stopped calling it the group in her head. She thought of it now as her group. A week later, an email arrived from the cafe that had hosted the open mic. They were putting together a small chapbook, selected pieces from the night. And wanted to include hers if she was willing. Allison read the email 3 times, hardly believing it. Her writing, printed. Bound. Held in hands that weren't hers. She pressed her palms to her face, laughter spilling out in disbelief. For months she had thought her words were only ashes, scattered and meaningless. Now they were finding shape, finding readers. Life didn't transform overnight. There were still mornings when she woke heavy, when the empty chair across from her caught her off guard, when she longed for David's laugh in the quiet rooms. But there was movement now, woven into the stillness. There were Thursdays to look forward to, messages from Mariah or Jules lighting up her phone, drafts piling up in her notebook like stepping stones. And each time doubt tried to drag her back, she remembered the cafe, the applause, the woman who had asked to share her words with her grieving sister. She was not alone. Her story was not wasted. One evening, she found herself writing something different, not about loss, but about beginnings. About rain-soaked mornings that smelled like possibility. About laughter around a crowded table. About the way courage felt when it surprised you. She looked down at the page and realized, with a start, that David's name wasn't in it. Not once. Her chest tightened with guilt at first. But then she understood, it wasn't forgetting. It was expanding. She was carrying him forward, yes, but she was also carrying herself. At the next gathering, she read the new piece aloud. When she finished, the group clapped warmly. "That sounded free," Mariah said, eyes shining. "Like you're finding your own air." Allison swallowed hard, too moved to speak. She only smiled, feeling the truth of it deep in her chest. That night, as she walked home through the cooling autumn air, the city lights shimmered against the pavement. The streets buzzed with life. Couples laughing, buses hissing to a stop, music drifting from open doorways. For the first time in a long time, she felt part of that pulse, not apart from it. And as she turned the corner to her apartment, she thought, this is only the beginning.